Welcome to another episode of Tales from the Tables with your host, Rob Bradley,
John Charles Ciccarelli,
James Burrows,
and Damien Hallwood.
Hello and welcome back to the podcast, everyone. How are you all doing? All good? James, JC?
Yeah, good.
Damien?
Really good.
To see you guys. How was your flight back to New York, JC? Was it good? Was it all right?
I wish I could say it was. Honestly,
God. Oh God. Let me guess. Screaming baby.
Yeah, screaming babies. And
man.
I had the very last on purpose. I chose the very last aisle of the massive 787 plane. But thinking, oh, maybe I'll hopefully get lucky and have no babies and no giant dude next to me. Maybe it'll be some lovely small person. And I tell you, the person who sat next to me could have played Brienne of Tarth.
Legit. Oh God, really?
Legitimately. Lovely woman, not big boned, certainly. And probably has powerful Viking ancestors. So that was and I flew from Zurich, of all places, because of trying to keep my flight on the cheap and connecting from random places. So it was a 10-hour flight back. Mm-hmm. It was yeah.
Wow,
enough to watch
10 hours.
almost all of Oppenheimer. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Christ, 10 hours. Jesus Christ.
I think so. Yeah, overall, yeah. But anyway, it was. It's good to be back, but it's also I already miss the UK. Can't wait for my next trip back. So yeah.
Nice. What did you do while you were over here? Did you do anything cool? What did you get up to?
Not really. There was this, little thing that we did out in Salisbury and whatever.
That's right. Me and JC played the Game of Thrones board game and made two other DMs want to kill me.
Yeah,
that was on Friday night, wasn't it? Before Rolldark Fest.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant.
We all brought, not me because I obviously came from overseas, but a lot of people brought board games and were intending to let's play a couple, let's have a good time, let's see which one is which. And James was like, from the get-go, he was like, I really like this Game of Thrones board game, and I'm going to pitch it really hard. So we ended up playing it for the entirety of the time, of the entirety of the night. It was like 4 hours, wasn't it?
It took a long time. Yeah.
Oh,
I won't lie.
Good God. How the hell
We're already
did you then
triggering Anna Jordan.
and then to then go on to do 8 hours the next day of DMing.
Yeah.
Christ
Yes,
almighty.
I'm sorry, Rob. I always burnt out all the 4 DMs we had in the house from playing games the next day.
That's right. If you get any complaints about us at Rolldark Fest, it's actually James's fault. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take full responsibility. Yeah. But yeah.
And if any of you ever doubted that we were nerds.
I didn't get the rules 100% right. I mean, any time I got the rules wrong, it didn't benefit me. I was stone last the entire game. But
oh Christ!
But there were a few times when Jordan got annoyed at me because I got a rule wrong and it did not help him.
What a pain in the backside.
That's a Game of Thrones for you, isn't it?
Yeah, well, this is it. I suppose it's supposed to be expected, isn't it? You're supposed to fall out with each other, aren't you? And hate each other and
did.
Yeah,
God knows what else.
My JC won,
stuck
so
true to the lore. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
JC won. Oh, great.
As the Baratheons, so we reset history. It was not. It was not really canonical whatsoever.
I've not played it. Is it similar to the June game? Because I imagine with like the houses and stuff. No, totally different.
I think it would be, but it's quite different.
Thematically, yes, but mechanically, it's a very different game.
Because the thing I really like about the June game is like each house has its own things that it can do.
Is this Imperium? Because there's a few.
Yeah, the original one with the map of Arrakis, and you've got the sandstorm goes around it.
Oh, the original, so not Imperium then.
No, the original Dune game.
Yeah,
and like the Atreides are the only ones that can take notes in the whole game, so they can keep a notepad and pen and write things down. And the Harkonnens or Harkonnens, depending on your pronunciation of that word, are the only ones that have traitors, or they have like the most amount of traitors in like different families and different houses and stuff. It's really sick. It's a great
Imperium is also excellent. It's an excellent board, just an excellent board game over and above being a Dune board game. It's a sort of a worker placement game, but It's really good, really tactical. There's a lot of expansions for it now, most of which I haven't had a chance to play, but the base game just itself is really good.
I'll
There
definitely check
are
it out.
so many different versions of Dune. I haven't even of the board game. I haven't.
Oh, there's
even realized
loads.
that,
Yeah, they keep releasing them.
I wonder if it's
I
because
don't
some
remember
new
which
movies
one
have
I
come out or
played.
something, and they're
Maybe
into-
Dune is popular again for some reason.
yeah.
Yeah, I wonder why.
It's hard to say.
Possibly.
How are you, Damien? You well?
Yeah, doing fine, thank you. Yeah, adjusting
Yeah.
to life as a 4-piece as opposed to a
Oh yeah, how's that
trio.
go?
Mhm.
How's it all
Yeah,
coming
fine.
along? All right. Yeah, good.
Yeah,
Happy.
doing great. Yeah,
Sweet.
she's furious. She's at a furious feeding stage, so she's we have
Oh.
Yeah,
some
snap.
rough nights. I imagine you're experiencing similar.
I had a punami this morning. I told you about.
Oh,
didn't I?
great.
Yeah, literally on the way literally about to leave to come to the office, and Charlotte, my partner, was like, "Oh, Rob, do you mind just changing Thomas's nappy a minute? I think he's done a poo." I was like, "Yeah, no worries." Took him upstairs, and I kid you not, literally like over his entire body. I was like, what?
God.
Like, how the hell has this happened? Like, it's like literally like come out the sides of his nappy, all down his legs, all up
my
his
God.
back, up his belly, up his chest. I was like, my God, it looked like he was wearing like one of those like someone like body painted him this like brown color. Thankfully, he's still young enough so it doesn't smell horrific. It actually smelled like it just smells like I don't know what it smells like. Kind of like a clinical smell, not like a poo smell.
Interesting.
So I was like, okay. So I was like, all right. So I was literally like wiping it down with baby wipes. So I was just like, oh, sod this. I'm going to fill the sink up with water and just dunk in a minute. So I just did that. And this squirmy baby just like, I was like, get in there.
Have you become
Baptized in.
desensitized to poo and vomit already?
Yeah, totally.
Rob, have you discovered?
Poo-nami is my new favorite term.
I think I think you've already discovered it because it's happening right now. You'll discover that fecal matter is a topic that you will talk about a lot with a lot of people for a long time.
Has he had a poo yet? When's he going to poo? I don't know when he's going to poo.
Yeah.
He stopped pooing through the night, which is great. So I'm changing his nappy. I'm like, oh, thank God. Like at like 3 a.m. 3 a.m. with like one eye open. Like, is there anything in it? I was like, oh, there's nothing in it. Hooray! Like, little wipe, nappy back on, give him to mum. She like starts nursing him. I'm like, do you need me to stay awake? She's like, no, you can just sleep. I was like, oh, okay, no worries. Just give me a nudge if you need me. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. It continues on. It goes on and on and on. It starts off with, has it changed colour yet?
Oh, yeah, it's not changed colour yet. No.
Does it smell yet? To have they had it all over themselves yet?
Yeah.
To are they out of nappies yet? So it'll keep going. You'll just keep talking about bodily functions for many, many years. Sorry to tell you.
Great. Can't wait.
James and I are now like scratching our chins, being like, "Is this worth it? Do we really want this in our future?"
I don't know, JC. I think we can adopt a child together. It'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, fair.
Just think though, you've always got that one person that will always play games with you. You know. So
that is true.
Let me put it this way. Let me swing it back round to Sweet. My little boy is 5. He fairly recently had an incident where he got injured at school, and not severely or anything like that.
Okay, good.
But it was a result of another child, and I sort of was talking to him about it, just trying to reassure him, and sort of was talking to him about, was it something they did on purpose or was it an accident?
Oh, nice. You're talking about vengeance.
Yeah, and his response was, "It doesn't matter, Daddy. They're still learning." So when you get stuff like that and your heart falls out of your chest and proceeds to have a dramatic film death right in front of you, it does make it all worth it.
Yeah, it makes it worth it. Oh,
nice.
that's adorable.
Nice. That is lovely.
Yeah.
I
what
can
a
imagine,
little man.
I can imagine my son will be slightly different. He'll probably be like, Dad, he's dead. He's dead.
Lands and sold them.
I buried him and his family. They're all dead. What did he do to
Rob
you?
will
Just looked at me.
put a hand on your shoulder and say, "Good job, son.
That's my boy. That's my boy. That's my boy." I'm basically the guy out of There Is Blood. You know, the dude and his son.
Oh, right.
I drink your milkshake, Eli. I'll drink more your milkshake, Eli.
What's
There
his name?
will be blood.
Yeah, his name Bill. No, Bill.
God,
Just
the actor's
Gangs of New York, isn't it? It's Daniel
Is it
Day-Lewis.
Gangs of New York? Right.
Sam Day-Lewis, yeah, but brilliant. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Amazing.
So Rolldark Fest was cool, wasn't it, guys?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Was a
Derailed
blast.
that.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was
As,
good
as
fun.
always. And it's really nice to see that we're like developing a community, right? Like there are people that keep
brilliant.
coming back and reference the previous ones. One of my players even, who's very much a DM in their own right at this point, they started to formulate a sort of interconnected woven thread that I don't think any of us have ever put there. Like, you know, they were like, I think I see what is connecting all these events and what this could possibly be leading to, and what the overarching sort of narrative might be. And I'm like,
Stolen.
You know more than we do.
Tell me.
Can you tell us?
Can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, they also threatened me with a lemon, so there is that. An inside reference to one of our games from ages ago, but I received a lemon, and they just left it with me for the entirety of the day, and I'm like, I don't know what this is supposed to mean.
Well, I did see that someone also left you a picture of you on a little easel.
Yeah,
I presume you didn't bring that yourself. That was a gift from someone else.
Apparently, that's what went around Rolldark Fest, was that I built a shrine to myself at my table. I'm here to quash those rumors. That is not true. One of my players brought what they called the shrine to JC, and it was meant to be worshipped at, so that I would never roll a critical hit against them. That was the function and the purpose. And to be fair, I don't think that ever happened. So I never rolled a crit against them. So I guess it worked. There we go.
Did anyone take any blocks from the tower from your table? I'm trying to remember. I think one person did, didn't they, JC?
Yeah, one person, I think twice. We had a poll, whereas James's table had 36,000 polls.
I know. It's so good.
Well, yes. I wanted them to pull from the tower as much as possible. So I set up my game to be as difficult as humanly possible, but
brilliant
with the option to, okay, well, look, this attack's going to put you down, potentially, like, then your other teammates are in trouble. But you can negate all the damage from this attack by pulling from the tower. So it got to the point where they were like on 3 hit points against like a Dracolich. So they were like, well, I guess if I'm surviving this encounter, I'm pulling from the tower.
Yeah, fair enough, man.
They all did survive.
Our games could have not been any more different, James. Like, I actively discouraged. I was like, make sure if you pull from the tower that you absolutely think it's worth it, because every table here will hate you for the results that you get. I scared the living heck out of them from pulling the blocks from that tower. So I guess it balanced out.
I think, I'm
glad on my table, I didn't put the fear of God into them about it. Also, I don't think they'd have cared. But every table will hate me. I sort of want to pull more now. I imagine that's how that conversation would have gone.
Taken that challenge.
It definitely went the way that I wanted it to, because I didn't really want the tower to, I mean, obviously I'd like, it would have been interesting if the tower fell, especially towards the end. That would have been really cool. But I think that the fact that it has such devastating effects across everybody's game on the day really added an enormous amount of tension and an enormous amount of camaraderie almost between each table as well. Like, they were like, you know, people, when someone
everyone was invested.
Everyone was invested. Yeah. No one wanted that table, that tower to fall. No. If it did, you could see, like, you know, it would be a challenge. They would deal with it, but it was just great. It really brought the room together. It really did.
Yeah. The tension it built was incredible.
It was incredible.
Silence. At one point there was 2 blocks and 2 blocks, and I realized that this is a video format, but like the way it was, they were connected in one corner essentially, and the whole tower twisted slightly when someone pulled it. And from that moment on,
I remember
anytime someone went to the tower, it was just dead silence as everyone looked.
Yeah.
As soon as they realized someone was pulling from it, it was great.
I stopped in the middle of many descriptions. I was like, okay, at this point the beholders start staring at you and oh god, they're pulling.
Just a hush fell over the room.
All over the room. Yeah.
Did anybody? I sadly couldn't attend this Rolldark Fest. It sounded excellent. I've been enjoying the videos and photos on the Discord. Did any of the, because this is why Dread is such a good game, because Dread exclusively uses the pulling from the Jenga tower as its rule system to build tension. One thing I love to do when I play that game is get kind of behind or around or up in the face of the person that's pulling the block and continue the narrative description as they are pulling the block, kind of building the tension up and down depending on how precarious it looks.
That's cool.
Did anybody do anything like that? Did any GMs chase them to the tower?
No,
unfortunately
not.
Unfortunately not. No, the GMs were quite stuck behind their tables. Because we had because of how it was set up. But it was they didn't need to be honest with you. It was done in such a way that it was just brilliant. It was just like a really decent centerpiece for an event.
I think the size of it was good.
Yeah,
like I think if it was any bigger, it would have been a struggle to do it, and if it was any smaller, it wouldn't have been as imposing. I think it was.
I was.
And some of the shorter players that were pulling from the tower.
Yeah,
at one point I was like, should we get a stool or a sturdy chair to help them?
Some of the younger players, were just stretching precariously to put the block on the top at the end as well.
Those two lads loved it. When we got towards the end, and I was like, okay, if you now decide to take a block, you'll get a free raffle ticket. These two kids just jumped out their seat and Harry was like, no, it has to be in context. You have to get a bad roll and then do it. You can't just pluck from the tower winning in it. They were like,
or
So what's our next one? Because I mean, the Tower of Devastating Destiny has etched itself permanently into our history books.
Yeah,
what's our next one?
Well, we'll definitely use the Tower again at another Rolldark Fest, but not at the one that's coming up on the 12th of October. So the idea for this,
you heard it here first, folks. 12th of October.
12th of October, yes. So the same place, Medieval Hall as well.
Nice.
They've given us a bit of money off to keep it within the same year to do another booking. So I was like, okay, well in that case, then we'll do it. So I believe the head table ticket has gone down from £50, and the standard ticket has gone down by £25. So in order to try and make it a bit more affordable for folks. But what I think we're going to do with this one. I mean, ideally, we need to sell out, which would be good. We could have 7 tables again. Last one was just 6 because we didn't sell the final table. So 7 tables. And we'll have a fortune teller in the center of the room for this one. But the fortune teller will have a stack of different sets of cards. So maybe the deck of many things. maybe the deck of cards from Curse of Strahd.
The Taroka deck.
Yeah, the Taroka deck. Yeah, maybe that as well. And then a bunch of others that we could either create or we could find through various different means. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to have it so that each deck has certain things. So one will be like magic items, another one will be like spells, another one will be like how the deck of many things will alter stuff,
reality
and things,
fate.
Fate, yeah, exactly. And then one that is just pure frigging chaos, which is just bad. Maybe I'm sure there must be a wild magic deck of cards that we could use.
Probably. Oh, I'm sure.
There must.
Why don't we develop our own Rolldark deck?
Yeah, we totally could.
How cool would that be? The deck of the Dark of Roll, or I don't know, something like
that. Absolutely, JC. Yep, we could totally do that.
I've got an idea for the one after. Do I pitch it now, or do I save it for off the podcast?
No. Pitch it now. What's your idea?
for after this Rolldark Fest, for another Rolldark.
Yes.
Okay.
So in the Planescape book, there's a casino with various different spinning wheels of Destiny and prizes and stuff and things you win through that. You could do something similar to that. Maybe do a magical casino
that'd be cool.
heist event.
Yeah, heist could be really cool.
That would be sick. And also there's bingo things that turn and you get the ball out.
Yeah.
25. I mean maybe the numbers could be the players. So every player has a ball with their number on it, and it goes into the the lottery kind of thing, And then maybe
that'd be quite cool.
What could be cool, and this would be, it'd be a lot of work on the DM's part, I think, but you're all good DMs, so I think you could probably manage it. Is you could have the numbers for every individual player on an individual table, and halfway through the day, those numbers get taken, or maybe something happens, like your player does something, or your character does something in the game that makes that number be taken and put into the mix, right? And maybe that can only happen among 6 players in the whole room. And when that happens, those 6 players have to stand up and go to a totally different table and have a totally different game that's like maybe been sucked into some kind of weird portal or something, or I don't know.
Trading players,
we could definitely, yeah. Like that would be really interesting.
Guys, when do we take this to the next level and start like doing outside stuff and
as soon as I can find the perfect venue. So the place we did it in Wales, on paper would have been brilliant because you've got the campsite there, so folks can camp. You've got obviously like good space inside. The only problem was the acoustics were really bad, and they charged us way too much for food. And they charge us a lot of money as well. So it was like, the
distance for some folks.
Yeah, it's a long way to travel. I mean, but everything else is pretty good there. They've got great parking. They've got a whole freaking campsite you can use. But the problem is that during the summer months, they're fully booked. They're like fully booked throughout the summer and the spring. And to hire the whole place for a weekend, which is what they would want, is like 10 grand.
Jeez. Yeah.
So your ticket price is going to have to reflect that, and that's obviously, without making money, you're already looking at a lot.
Right. Yeah. How about we just buy a castle and eventually it'll pay for itself? Which one are we going to buy?
Well, they sell them for about £1 in Scotland, don't they? The ones that are really dilapidated.
Dilapidated. Yeah.
There you go. Dilapidated.
Why don't
dilapidated?
Or hear me out. We could just take Windsor Castle. Like, how many of those rooms are unused and the guards probably have no idea? We could shelter down there for about 8 hours, and by the time they finally realize it and kick us out, we've already run the event. Huh?
I like that idea.
We go for a Storm Area 51 situation. We just all agree.
Yeah, exactly.
All nerds in the country just agree that we're taking Windsor Castle.
You get that one kid to do the Naruto run as they're evading the guards.
That's do you guys remember in history? I don't know if you ever did like sort of English history, where the peasants' uprising.
Yeah, I roughly
did that, and they all literally, like, no one knows why. No one knows why. They all just stormed London. All these peasants from Essex just like stormed into London and just like try to take over the whole. But they had like, there was no organization. There was no there was no
free
agenda.
Pre-Facebook.
This is in like the 1300s or something.
No, I mean that's what I mean. How did they organize?
How did they organize it? No one knows.
You don't even know how to write,
guys.
Nobody knows.
Guys, I had a really frank discussion with the Pinkertons last week. I don't need them on my back again.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
They came knocking at your door, I'm sure. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, great. So what news have we got for this week, then, Damien?
Quite a few bits and pieces for Dungeons and Dragons. There's a lot of moving and shaking for all the new stuff we've got coming. We've talked about it a few times in the past. I'll run you through the list. I know there's a couple of things that are going to be more popular topics than others, even when I just say the name. So I'll run through what I've got, and we'll pick from the list. So for Dungeons and Dragons, we talked last week about Larian not returning to Baldur's Gate. However, it does seem that Wizards and Hasbro are keen to find a replacement and not take a big hiatus between games. So there's a big interview talking about that.
They'd be stupid not to be fair.
They would. Yeah, there's some interesting tidbits in that as well about how they're going to handle the beloved NPCs from Baldur's Gate 3. We've also got a lot of information coming in about Vecna: Age of Ruin, the very soon to be released kind of huge crossover event. It seems multiversal crossover event featuring Vecna. We've got a fireside chat with Jeremy Crawford and Chris Perkins about the Player's Handbook and where it's at and what it contains. I found a very fascinating article about a study that was done about how Dungeons and Dragons is good for mental health, which was quite interesting to read. And then finally, stepping outside of D&D, we mentioned last week on the news that Star Trek is getting a second edition. Modifius have clarified some of the things that are going to change in the book, including cleaned up and refined rules, lessons they've learned from having done a lot of books since then, adding things from some of the later source books they released, like the Klingon book, and a wealth of new character options and things like that. So that's the bowl of fruit.
That's the rundown.
That's the bowl of fruit. Pick as you choose.
How did we do? Did we interrupt too much, or did we actually?
You did well. No, we did real well. I didn't take a breath in between most of that. So.
I noticed that. Yeah. It's a good tactic. Good tactic.
Yes.
No,
Wow.
anyone could get in and be like, "Oh, let's talk about Vecna." But actually, let's talk about Vecna. Let's talk about Vecna.
Let's talk about Vecna.
I am so excited.
I'll run you through what I've got.
I'm gonna read the shit out of that book when it comes out.
Oh yeah, I think
I'm first in line at the store.
Away.
So good.
So
what's the date? It's May something, right? Oh, come on.
Yeah, it's next month. Yeah, it's
great. Yeah, I'm definitely getting that.
May 6th, it looks like? May 21st. Okay. Oh, come on. It's so long. Okay.
If your hype levels aren't high enough, they released a teaser trailer for it, which is a sort of partially animated trailer featuring Vecna and featuring the voice of Neil Newbon of Astarion fame.
Yes.
And his voice, he's talking about his sort of his belief system, kind of like what drives him to be who he is. And as his voice goes on, it becomes more and more monstrous and evil and cruel and violent. Yes, very, very awesome trailer just for building hype. So cool. Check that out on the channel.
But now that requires all of the DMs to do an Astarion impression as a Vecna.
Yeah,
but
thanks Neil Newbon. Thanks, Neil. Game of the Year winner.
Oh my God, you have my hand. Oh, that's awful. Gosh, no. Oh, and my eye too. You bastard. Just whiny the whole time.
I hate that guy. It really irritates me. I'm like,
love him.
When I woke up in the middle of the night, he's trying to suck my blood. I was like, get off. I was like, oh. It's like, fuck off. Like I'm trying to play this fucking game. I've got a hag to kill, man. Piss off.
Still. How's Rob? How's that hag treating you?
Oh, yeah, she's still around. Yeah, she's still there.
She's not going anywhere.
Oh well, Fallout 4 was like £3 on Steam, so I bought that.
Oh man,
been there.
I might go back to it.
I just gotten out of the bloody Frozen thing as well, so I'm like, because I literally, this is my life. This is my life. Yeah, cup of tea. Turn on Steam Deck. Rob, can you go get this thing? Yeah, right. And that's basically my life.
Yeah. Welcome to parenthood,
as we've heard.
So you just hear a cry.
Yeah.
Some of the juicier bits aside from the trailer. So first of all, anybody that pre-ordered Age of Ruin on D&D Beyond should already have, I think it was released on the 16th, a little introductory adventure called Vecna Nest of the Eldritch Eye, which is an introductory adventure, 2 to 3 hours, single session, level 3 to 4, set in Neverwinter, catacombs beneath the city. The party looks like they're going to be hired by Lord Neverember as city security and encounter a dead body with a clue being a single desiccated eyeball. So anybody that pre-ordered the book should have access to that kind of preamble adventure to kind of lead in introducing the cult of Vecna and kind of seeding the later adventure that will be in the full book.
Nice.
It's got an awesome piece of cover art.
None of us have actually read or played this adventure yet, have we?
I haven't. No.
I haven't. Okay, if you have, hit us up on Discord because I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Because this is big. This is a teaser for how this adventure is going to run. Is it well built? Is it interesting?
The next bit is the real meat and potatoes of this book. There was a video, or there's been several videos on the Dungeons & Dragons YouTube channel talking about what's in this book. Monsters being a big one.
40 monsters in the adventure?
40 monsters in the adventure. 40. Each chapter has its own theme and monsters to fit that theme. Some of the monsters are going to be brand new, others are from earlier editions getting revamped. There's a few that have been mentioned.
Getting a new stat block.
Strahd is getting a new stat block, yeah.
Related to Death House.
Related to Death House. Yeah, very cryptic.
This is an adventure that starts at level 10. Yes. So Curse of Strahd ends at level 10. So
is it a sequel?
Realistically, well, I hope that there is a way to bridge the two because I'm running a Curse of Strahd game. and the guys have expressed an interest into going into this Vecna game after.
Yeah, personally, looking at what because they released a lot of artwork from this book as well.
Yes,
some really beautiful book art that you can see, and one of them is Strahd.
Yes,
another one is a Sararak, a personal favorite of mine. A beautiful piece of art of a Sararak sat on a throne.
I haven't seen that one yet.
I suspect this isn't a sequel to any one of the previous books. This gives me the feeling that this is a sequel to everything they've done with 5th edition. I think this is
right. Yeah,
I think this is kind of their closing the chapter and opening a new chapter, multiverse event, big Marvel or DC event where everything comes to a head. You've got all these returning villains from their previous books, and it's a multiversal hopping adventure that goes all the way to level 20, culminating in Vecna.
This is their Infinity War / Endgame arc.
I think that's a really good analogy.
Awesome. I'm here for the bridging of all the different realities and the kind of multiversal. And here's the coolest part, Damien, if I can interject. I've also heard that you are recruiting help from across the multiverse, heroes from different timelines and different worlds. So Mordenkainen to Tasha to Elminster. I don't know if he's going to make an appearance in the book or not, but or I think Illustrial Silverhand was also mentioned as well.
She's got a stat block,
I think her and Tasha are getting stat blocks.
Powerful. Yeah, powerful heroes that wouldn't necessarily know each other. And there's a picture of Tasha and Mordenkainen sitting together, and Illustrial as well. I'm here for this. You are arranging the galaxies and the multiverse's most powerful heroes and yourselves at the center of it to bring this guy down.
I can only hope. And they said that as part of the video, listening to them talk about this book and the monsters, it was yet again mentioned, like they mentioned with the new monster manual, that they are aiming to make high-level monsters that are a threat to high-level players.
Great.
And I can only hope that is the case. And because if you've got all of these, like you say, these incredible Mordenkainen and Tasha and Illustrial. Now, I should point out, Tasha is apparently a younger version of her from before Wild Beyond the Witchlight.
Before Egwil, before Zybilna. Yep.
Yeah, still very powerful. If it takes that level of multiversal adventuring to take this guy down, I can only hope his stat block and the encounters match that. And it really does feel like a battle against Thanos for control of the universe, because it has to, right? It has to feel like that.
He's the ultimate bad guy, right? So it's got to be like the
yeah.
The problem I've got with this, and it's not really a problem as such, but it's with Marvel, I suppose it's completely different because they're two completely different things. But with Marvel, when they had that I can never pronounce this word. Crescendo of Endgame. Everything else after that's been lackluster. Is that right?
Yes.
Right word?
Yeah.
It's not been. It's like
for the most part,
reached this amazing pinnacle, and then it's like, it's like
Phase 4 has not been what I think they wanted it to be. That was the album. Yeah.
No, because you built the
stakes got too high.
Yeah, and also the character relationships between all of the Avengers was just so good. It was so tight. They're all emotionally invested with each other. The fact they all fell out during Civil War, then they all made up again, and it was just that whole journey that you went on with those guys.
I think
from an entertainment perspective was incredible, and it's how can you ever top that?
It's actually a closer analogy than perhaps you think, because
yeah.
I think one of the reasons that series was so successful and it paid off in such a good way was because from very, very early on, they decided where it was going to end, and they, for the most part, fully stuck to that plan. Now, that isn't to suggest that maybe they did. Maybe Wizards have always known that this is where it would culminate against Vecna. Either way, if they didn't, they're making it seem like they did with this adventure.
Sure.
They're making it seem like this was always going to happen. This was going to be the finale. Whereas I don't think Phase 4 of Marvel really has that direction. And when they did choose a villain, they sadly had to change it because the actor ended up getting in a lot of hot water. So if Wizards can keep...
that's an issue they're not going to have with Vecna.
No. So if...
Which actor is that?
Jonathan Majors.
What did he do? What was it?
He was going to be
he hit his girlfriend. I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, he was abusive.
Who is he going to be? Who is he going to be?
It was going to be Kang the Conqueror.
Kang.
Conqueror.
He was in
Was it?
Loki.
He was teased in Loki. Yeah.
And Ant-Man, actually. Ant-Man, and he was in Quantumania as well.
Yes, he was in there as well. I missed that movie, but
He's another multiversal villain that was going to, from what I understand, was intended to be kind of the next big bad. I think they're either going to recast him, or I think they're going to shift to somebody like Doctor Doom. With Fantastic Four coming out,
would be so good, man. Like seeing,
hopefully,
like, the way we spoke about last time about like having his like perspective would just be so good. You know, it'd be brilliant.
So yeah, if they can keep if they can keep a plan into the next sort of phase of these adventures and have a through line, that would be really exciting. The idea that it could once again culminate in another big event years down the line, that could be quite interesting. As long as they don't just get wishy-washy with it. It really seems, and we'll get into this with the Player's Handbook as well, it seems like they're putting a huge amount of work into these books. I mean, 40 monsters just for this adventure, not including...
It's a lot for one adventure, yeah.
They've got monsters like an updated version of the Stone Juggernaut from Tomb of Annihilation. They now have a Granite Juggernaut.
Oh, wow.
There's a Spider Dragon.
A Spider Dragon.
Yeah.
They have a...
sorry to interrupt you. I hope they bring back the beautiful maps they used to do.
I hope so too.
I hope for this one they've got solid maps, because that's the only problem I have with some like Curse of Strahd. To an extent, has quite nice maps actually.
It's got that map,
but there's some very basic ones.
Which is nice.
Avernus I mean, like it's more the battle map stuff that I wish. Like, so if you're going into a combat encounter, it has been weirdly hit and miss with the later D&D books as well, because the Spelljammer book had like black and white, very plain, boring maps. But then,
it's a shame.
The next one had incredible, like really nicely detailed maps.
Yeah.
The Planescape one's got some lovely maps in it as well. So they've got the
let's hope they go
that
route.
Yeah, especially considering they've got that map facility now on D&D Beyond.
Yeah,
right.
You thought they would be in their best interest to make sure they deliver some decent, like, lovely maps.
And it keeps going back and forth.
I agree, yeah.
Or even just sell them, for God's sakes. Like, just sell them. Just be like in the books you get, like, you know, the basic sort of map you can copy and stick onto, like, you know, a board and you can write it out. Or you can go online and buy them, like, you know.
Yeah.
And they're amazing. I totally
like
buy them.
Third parties are selling them, so they should.
I'm already looking
make it so you don't need to go do
Grimm's. Yeah, I'm already looking at Beetle and Grimm's Platinum Edition for Vecna Eve of Ruin, which starts at $509 USD.
What?
But the Platinum Edition includes
Beetle and Grimm.
Beetle and Grimm's. They do the super box set of many D&D adventures, and you can get minis and maps and handouts and custom figurines and special tokens and stuff like that, right? Like, they go all out. They have the Rod of Seven Parts as the unique aluminum plated map. Wait, hold on, guys. I might buy this. Unique aluminum plated magic item cards that combine. I'm sorry, aluminium. That combine to create a 33.5 inch Rod of Seven Parts. How cool is that?
That is cool.
That's amazing.
That is cool.
They do have 16 battle maps gridded for minis and rolled up in a newly designed map box. By the way, we are not yet sponsored by Beetle and Grimm, but, you know, in the future. Poster and area maps, in-world handouts, artifacts and tattoos. You get tokens and a temporary tattoo of Vecna's hand holding the eyeball, and it says, the tagline is, made to venerate Vecna, sized to fit on the back of your hand.
Oh, nice.
That is so sick.
I mean, I have to shave the back of my hand to get that on, but I'd do it.
Yeah, me too. Just a bit.
Whoever's in charge of this company, this Beetle and Grimm's company, they are literally geniuses. This is
Am I right in thinking Matthew Lillard is attached to Beetle and Grimm?
I think so, actually.
Yeah. Oh, he is.
I don't know.
He is.
He is the owner.
He's always wearing hats and stuff, isn't he? That's like Beetle and Grimm's. Yeah. So he must have some.
He's heavily invested in one way or the other if it's not his company. Yeah. No, I've seen him like promoting them quite a bit.
Yeah.
Van Lynch's Guide to Ravenloft as well is there.
Yeah, they've done quite a few.
I think they've pretty much got
they did
much
the
late
edition stuff. Annihilation, I think. Yeah.
These would make some cool raffle prizes, wouldn't they? Or just nice additions.
Christ, yeah.
Nice additions to my shelf.
Yeah.
Well,
I will take 400 tickets, please.
Yeah.
Kev, JC, who's on the table that Jack was with, the guys that I've run for, before.
Very, very much so.
He bought 100. He bought 10 rows of 10 raffle tickets. So he spent £100 on raffle tickets, and then won the prize to come to the next Rolldark Fest, which is £100 ticket anyway.
Oh my god!
I was like,
yeah.
What was he gunning for with that? Did he think he would win everything?
No, he said he's just like, I just really want to support your business, Rob. And I was like, oh, thanks, man.
Nice.
That's nice.
Yeah.
You know, he can direct
That's
invest.
very cool.
Just send him a PayPal link every week and see what happens.
See what happens. Just gonna leave this here.
Here. Throw some money in it. You got to have money lying around you don't want to spend. Just throw it in this thing. It's all right.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So
you got some good ones.
This book has the potential to be incredible. I also worry that it has the potential, with the hype surrounding it, to possibly be very disappointing.
Yes, to crash and burn hard. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fingers crossed for the former, because, I mean, looking at the artwork, looking at the monsters, they've got this new demon prince who's like a cross between a double-headed wolf and a spider and a sort of helmed champion, all melded into one creature. Seeing Strahd, seeing Acererak, seeing Tasha, seeing Vecna, all together in one book. Come on, please. Please live up to that.
Who is the one villain that has not yet been mentioned that you would actually like to see in this adventure? They have Strahd, they have Koss, the Vampire Lord, or Cass, depending. Obviously Vecna, they have Acererak. Which of the many modules in 5e or any previous editions of D&D has a villain that you wish would make an appearance in this one?
Ooh. That is a very good question.
Just in general, for either Greyhawk or Forgotten Realms lore or Eberron lore or something.
Well, I suppose Tiamat is one that I think would be...
That's a big one. I mean, we know we're going to Kryn in the adventure. Yeah. That's one of the places we visit. So maybe. Although... spoilers, obviously this is a spoiler cast, and we've talked so much about it, but I did watch an interview where they talked about, and then they said it was okay. Lord Soth, an agent of Lord Soth, is someone that you fight for one of the rods of the seven parts, or one of the parts of the seven, whatever.
There's some artwork of, it looks very Blood War-y. There's lots of demons and devils in some of this artwork, so maybe someone like Zariel could get involved.
Yes, how cool would that be?
I don't know. I would like to see Demogorgon. I think just the name recognition from Stranger Things might mean that if you're going to include a demon, he's a big one to include, where people are like, "Oh shit, Demogorgon."
Yeah. Right. Good shout.
What about you, Rob? Actually, first,
you've got a new mini for Demogorgon as well, like a big, like official D&D one.
I like Azrael. I think she's cool, or he, or whoever that is. Is it Azrael?
Zariel?
Zariel. Sorry,
Zariel from
Azrael, from Descent of Avernus. Brilliant. Yeah, that'd be cool.
She would be. Yeah, that would be pretty.
I think
awesome.
just to represent. I think just having a representative from every like sort of type of monster would be cool. Like the baddest monster from every single one. So like your undead, the king of the undead or queen of the undead, whoever that is, and then like the most horrific like construction whatever there is, that kind of thing would be quite sweet.
Yeah, I imagine. I have a feeling Lolth is going to make an appearance because I've seen some art with her.
I would love for a Lolth stat block. Yeah, I would love for a Lolth stat block. I've wanted that for a long time.
Yeah.
Does Bane have a stat block?
Bane, Barn, and Merkel. They appear in.
They don't. I don't think.
Not stat block wise. They're mentioned in Avernus, but not.
Yeah, because he's just a god. It's just a god, isn't he?
I think we'll get some Mind Flayer stuff maybe because there's a Spelljammer section of the book, isn't there?
We better
probably.
So I imagine there'll be some. I don't know who the big bad for Spelljammer could be if it's not them. Because there's the Astral Elves in the adventure but I mean they're actually all sort of pathetic.
Xerxes, whatever his name is, something like that.
Oh yeah,
I'm really looking forward. I'm really looking forward to hearing some of the tales from the tables on this one of the big on your left moment,
where
everybody comes together to fight. Yeah, to fight.
All the portals open and everyone just comes out. Yeah, I'm ready for that.
We've gone quite long on the news already, but I think the only other one would be worth touching on is the news on the Player's Handbook. It's not as in depth, but there is some interesting tidbits from it. I say Jeremy Crawford, Chris Perkins sat down talking about the book. It seems they're close to final print on it. That they're getting close to that point. They said in the interview, then we'll move on to the Dungeon Master's Guide. And it just feels so weird to have it
out
so
of order.
Disjointed
that.
Like we'll do this one and then we'll move on to the next one and then we'll move on to it rather than kind of. I'm sure they are working on
all
them at
together.
least preliminary together, but it feels the way they talk about it like they're not.
It's odd, isn't it?
Right.
But some of the positive stuff from it. It's a jam-packed book by the sounds of it. It sounds like they're absolutely filling this book with stuff. The artwork, again, is a big part of it. In fact, they've said that more than any other previous book, the artwork has informed the construction and editing of the book. They're going to have spells, artwork for spells, which will feature the sort of named casters of those spells, like Bigby and Tasha, and have those actually casting that spell in artwork.
Leomund.
Yeah, Leomund, yeah. So that's interesting. They've got a lot. I think I mentioned they've got something like 40 subclasses in this book?
Jeez.
They've said that psionic subclasses are going to be in the book, including the Soul Knife and Psy Warrior.
Okay.
They're going to be in the book. They also said something I thought was quite interesting in the interview. They talked about players asking questions like, how can I break an object, and having to follow an obscure breadcrumb trail through different books to find that answer. Whereas it seems like they're going to have a section in this book for answering questions like that. Like players can find in the book how they can break an object or, smash a mirror or something like that. Kick a door down.
It would be nice to have like a quick reference sheet for players. That would be stuff that doesn't break the game the DM then doesn't give away.
I mean, that stuff exists in 5th edition DMG already. It's harder to find and it's more left to the DM, right? But there is the chart of the AC of different objects. I know that stone is 17 because that constantly comes up. And I think anything steel is 18, if I'm not mistaken.
Same as plate armor. Wood's 14, maybe, I think.
Maybe something like that. Yeah, but that exists, but it doesn't give you the HP of objects. It gives you a table, I think, of suggested HP based on material and size. But having a quick reference guide probably would be awesome for sure.
Yeah. They also mentioned new species replacing the word race. We've mentioned that before.
Right.
So there's new species in the book, which I imagine there will be a lot of them because there currently is a lot available for 5th edition across all the books. Are they doing all of them in the I don't know. They didn't say that they would cover all of them, but the fact that they've got new ones in there and the fact that they've got so many class and subclass options, I suspect there probably will be a fairly big wealth of playable species.
I suppose I imagine the only ones that won't be in there are probably the Magic the Gathering, like stuff like that. That's not D&D. So like Leonin, and who are the elephant people from stuff like that. And there's Strixhaven settings, Magic the Gathering as well, isn't it? So maybe like Owlin.
Got the Owlin. Yeah, the Owlin probably won't be in there.
There's also stuff not even in MTG settings, but like there's Fairy from later releases, right?
But
I expect that will be in there.
But I wish Fairy.
There will be. Okay, right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Harrengon.
Yeah. Out of the two, we'll see. Maybe not. I don't know about Harrengon, but maybe.
I would love to see some new unique races. I don't know that they're going to do that. Or, sorry, species.
It does say new species. It does say new species. Okay. They did mention that in the interview, so I don't know.
What do we got?
I don't know what. I would like it to be anything that's not another animal.
Like the Yuan-Ti and the Harrengon and the Owlin and What would we get? A plasmoid. That's what you want, isn't it?
It depends on.
They're out. You can get plasmoids already.
It depends on what they mean by new, because there's the Deva from 4th edition.
Yeah, Deva.
That didn't appear in 5th.
That'd be
so
cool.
They could be interesting. I know they were quite popular in 4th, or at least from my perspective. A lot of people like playing them.
Yeah, I had a friend who played one. Yep.
Yeah, so very interesting. They've said that internally they've seen the book stacked up against other previous players' handbooks, and it dwarfs them. They've said before this is a jam-packed book, and with all of this going into it, I can only imagine it must be. Just the adding artwork, like having a splash page for every class, adds pages, lots of pages. So it's going to be a big book.
I can only hope that the artwork for the halflings is considerably better than the last player's handbook. Because
they did mention that, actually. They mentioned that the species. They mentioned that the pictures of the species will depict them in the sort of way that you would imagine finding them. So, and they called out halflings as being sat around the classic sort of homely.
I think it was just
pipe smoking, food eating
sort of thing.
Yeah,
right.
That's great, because the weird, enormous headed halfling with the tiny body that we got in the last player's handbook, it wasn't like, I suppose, objectively bad artwork. It was just, this isn't how I pictured halflings, and it is got a weird baby face on this tiny body, but it's huge, blown out. It was weirdly proportioned
on its huge head.
I don't know. I'm not the only one who feels this way.
It's non-canonical artwork, because according to D&D, the halfling race is a miniaturized version of humans, right? To the point where the proportions are actually the same. They don't look like hobbits do from Lord of the Rings media from the last 20 years or 25 years. It's more like Bradley Cooper in the Dungeons and Dragons movie. That's more like what it is.
If you've never done this, and for goodness sake, don't put them in danger, but if you've never done this in a D&D setting, introduce the idea of a halfling or gnome baby to your players and watch them absolutely cry and swoon, because that baby would fit in the palm of their hand. It would be miniaturized, tiny little baby. I've had it with
mole rat.
They've met halfling NPCs who have a baby, and just the idea of a baby, because the way they react.
Doing this with your
never thought about it.
Tiny. The way they react is like they'd never thought about it that way before. Like, of course, a halfling baby would be tiny. So give that a go if you want to see your players just absolutely melt.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Depends on your players, but yes.
Of course.
By the way, speaking of races from previous editions, I pulled up a list of old races from 4th edition since we were talking about it. Apparently, there are things like the Wilden and the Shardmind that I completely forgot about.
I'd forgotten about those too as well.
Those are kind of cool. The Shardminds are like living crystals, right? They're like sentient, crystalline bodies. They don't breathe. They require no sustenance. And then the Wilden were these cool nature-themed, almost like tree-like folk with wooden and bark bodies and stuff like that, which is
that's cool. Actually, I wouldn't mind playing like a dryad or something. I'm surprised that hasn't been a thing in 5th edition.
More monstrous races. Yes, as playable. Do it. Yeah. Sorry.
So that pretty much concludes the meatier stuff. If there was only really the story about the changes to Star Trek and the mental health, positive mental health aspects of playing D&D that were the sort of leftover ones. So unless you want to touch them, we can move on.
Nah, let's talk about Rolldark Fest. Anything else on the tables?
Ooh, so many. Yeah. What do you guys have, James? I think you had conceptually the most creative one I had heard about. Although, to be fair, there's a lot of things going on in Rolldark Fest that I still have no idea what was happening at the tables. Like, whatever the hell was happening at Harry's table with the DVDs. Add us in the Discord to tell us what the heck was your table about. It was very intriguing.
It was to create levels between, because they were in a dungeon, so he was creating like different levels of platforms of where like, so basically to give them heights, like, this guy's this high above you, like this. So he's like them doing the distances that way.
Oh, so, that's cool.
Yeah, I think I think he had a tape measure. I'm not too sure. So he was working out like what the actual things were. But yeah, really, really, really clever idea.
Oh yeah,
what was his costume?
He had like a Walking Dead comic cape. Like, it was pages in the Walking Dead comic. That was
stapled together into a cloak. Yeah, I've noticed.
It was very, very creative.
Or maybe
I remember the one before. He had a record deck on his
He did,
table. He had like a
yeah.
real deck turn.
Yep.
It was so
and he had that
good.
little creature on his shoulder the whole time, kind of
Yep.
answering for him. Yep.
Yep.
Very creative stuff.
Did you guys see Jordan's armor that he brought? His
Yes, that he
whole
kept
body
taking
armor
on
and
and off because it was a lot. But
was it quite heavy? It was obviously very heavy.
Well, it was more that it was a little loose, I think. And Jordan, feel free to correct us, but like, it was. He said every time he sort of bent down to make a roll, the gauntlets would fall down to his wrist and prevent his wrist from moving. So he had to remove them in order to actually run the game. But it looked awesome.
It did look awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
for
next Rolldark Fest. For next Rolldark Fest, I'm planning on going all out, but I need someone to volunteer their warehouse. So, if you have a warehouse just sitting around, so I can put all my costumes and my stuff in there, let me know, and then I'll just keep it there forevermore.
Yeah, brilliant. Why not? Why the hell not?
Yeah.
We did optional costumes at this last one, which is why we didn't on the day we didn't do the best dressed thing.
Right.
I didn't want to make it too unfair for everybody, because there's lots of people who didn't come in costume, because it's not everyone's bag, is it? When you play D&D, it's more kind of in towards the world of LARPing, but it is fun to do. It is fun to do, and I think
I had a guy at my table who it was great because he was playing a Leonin, so he didn't. Obviously, that costume is very money and time intensive. So instead, he just wore a T-shirt that just said "Pretend I'm a lion."
Pretend I'm a lion.
Yeah, he's actually one of my regular players on a Monday night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's a really lovely guy. Yeah, I met him at the previous Rolldark Fest in person, and I saw that costume. Nice. I was laughing a lot.
I mean, some people go incredibly all out. Like, there were so many beautiful costumes. I had a couple of players. Well, I had all of my players at my tables were amazingly dressed. But I know one of my previous players, Ross, great guy. He was playing a cleric of the Raven Queen, and he custom painted the holy symbol of the Raven Queen onto his shield.
Wow.
And had that as a prop. He obviously wasn't using it at the table, but he had it propped up next to us. How cool is that, guys?
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
And then other people, we had fairy with the wings and butterflies kind of moving around them, and more vampiric sort of Dampier makeup for someone playing a Dampier and stuff. Excellent. It was just so cool. Yeah.
I think what we'll do for the next one is we'll have like a costume corner type thing where we can where basically what I'll do is I'll interview people on their costumes, because that's
a good idea,
because that kind of effort is often overlooked if you don't know that's what someone's gone to do it, and people don't tell you. They don't say, like, no one came up to me and said, oh, this guy's like made his own shield, and it's like if I'd have known that, I'd been like, oh wow, okay, cool, and I would have given him a bit more, like, made a bit of a fuss about it. So I think that because we also had someone who came to the Rolldark Fest before the last one, who had literally completely made their own like dress from scratch. So it's like stuff like that is like that is worth celebrating. So I think that we should, I think next time what we'll do is we'll try and have like a corner where we could just interview people and be like, tell me about your costume and and then I can maybe like slice that into. Yeah, maybe even put it onto the Discord and then let people vote on the Discord. Just be like,
that's a good idea.
During the day as well.
Or maybe vote on the day in the Discord.
Yeah,
exactly. People at the event to get on the Discord if they haven't already.
Absolutely. Good idea.
Yeah. Cool. I don't know.
Couple of just very small sort of tales from the tables from me. Just a couple of shout outs. I actually returned to my regular games Monday and Tuesday after a hiatus from having my own child.
Whatever.
So just a quick shout out to everyone on those two, Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden, and Odyssey of the Dragon Lords. Really good to see you all. Steve, who is the pretend he's a lion. Really, really good to see you all. Icewind Dale's very close to a conclusion. They're facing boss monsters now.
Nice.
And Odyssey continues on a sort of.
That means we can resume our Icewind Dale conversations.
We can.
Of course. Where are you going? Are you going to do anything else with this group after Icewind Dale?
So we began discussions about it last night. It's still inconclusive as to whether we'll continue that campaign, into a homebrew territory or move on. It'll be interesting to see where that goes. We're going to have that conversation.
What level are the characters now?
Off the top of my head,
they finish?
They're sort of 8 or 9-ish. I'm trying to remember now.
You could move into Vecna.
It could. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, or you could do like a little like prequel to Vecna, perhaps do like
Yeah.
to build them
To
up to
bridge
the
the
level
gap.
10. Yeah, to bridge
Yeah.
the gap. That could be
Absolutely.
cool. Yeah.
I imagine there's going to be a lot of people running that game.
Great.
A lot of people are going to be running
Scotty.
that game.
Yeah, I want to. Well.
I'm going to probably be running multiple versions of that game. I'll probably
Yeah,
run at least 2 versions.
Who wants to do a brand new one in for Rolldark with that game?
My hands raised.
I mean,
Yep.
I think everybody.
Yep.
If it's good,
we'll just turn into Rolldark Eve of Ruin. Everyone will be running that campaign exclusively.
Yeah, right. Well, if there's demand for it, then we could just do like several of them, couldn't we? It doesn't matter, does it?
I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, we hope we've hyped you up enough. So there better be demand.
If you are using, here's something I forgot to mention earlier. If you are picking up, if you're playing on Roll20, just a quick note: you can now activate Roll20 directly through Discord, or you will be able to.
I saw that. I'm like, what? How? Huh? What?
Oh,
Who?
hello.
So there will be a button. There will be a button if you're using Discord for voice and video chat. There will be a button that GM can press, which will immediately take them to Roll20 and allow them to instantly play.
Cool.
Awesome.
Okay.
So that's
or even better, you could ditch that and play Foundry BTT, which is
right.
Oh, that.
What is this Foundry that you speak of?
James, I swear to God, if you made us sit down through Game of Thrones, the board game, we can make you sit down and learn Foundry.
I think you should get your vengeance, to be fair, JC, and literally make him do that. Yeah,
I think so. I think we hold it. I think we'll drag Anna and Jordan into it as well. We'll bolt you down to a chair and make you. Right. No, we'll Clockwork Orange you with the open eyelids.
Nice. Well, thanks so much, guys. That's us. We realized that the last episode went on for about 2 hours, so we're trying to keep it within the hour
tighter
area here, a bit tighter. So we've got some exciting news. As of next week, we're going to have a sponsor.
Hey,
very cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
So we're just getting that. That's all been finalized. We just need to make sure we've got a nice script for them sorted. So we're gonna add that in there. So that should be it round about the beginning. And I'm not going to tell you who the company is, but they're a gaming table company that make gaming tables. So
and it doesn't rhyme with Bermhood. No, I'm kidding.
Imagine.
JK.
That'd be cool. All right. So they're gonna be sponsoring us from here on in, and also as well with what we're considering to do, which we may very well let's try that out over a couple of episodes and see if it works. Is we're going to move to video as well as audio, so you'll have the audio podcast available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and everybody else, but also we'll be on YouTube as well. So we'll provide links for that in the Discord for you guys to tune in and enjoy. All right.
Boom. Cool. That means you know what that means, Rob. It means we'll get more people because of all of your lovely mugs, James and Rob and Damien, and then we'll drop listeners because they'll be like, "Whoa, JC!" So we'll pretty much even out to exactly where we are.
All right. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna stick a Sean Connery mask on you, JC, and you're just gonna Sean Connery.
I'll do that the entire time. Don't worry. What age? What are we talking about? Like old Sean Connery, young Sean Connery?
I think Sean Connery in his 30s. I've actually got a very funny story to tell you about Sean Connery, but it's a bit X-rated. So I'll wait.
Oh, okay. Well,
after dark.
That's for Tales from the Tables nights.
Yeah, right. Because it's a little bit offensive in classic Sean Connery sense. But yeah,
of course. Yeah. Oh gosh. Right.
That does not surprise me. Yeah.
If anyone in the Discord, if anyone's in the Discord, they want to know what the story is, you can message me, direct message me, and I'll happily tell you. But with
a tagline that says, "Hey, this is for adult audiences only."
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, guys. Well,
awesome.
Thanks for tuning in, and we will. Well, you'll see us and hear us next week. Woo! Take care, everyone.
Awesome.
Ciao. Bye-bye.